Hi, this is Mike Balzer. This is a live stream testing the Insta360. I'm here in my tech closet and preparing for tomorrow's show at 10 o'clock on All Things 3D, 3D in Review. And hopefully I'll be able to take this out and provide an extra stream of full 360 capability. For those of you who are interested in this and are Android fans, I am testing this right now on a iPod 6G, or I'm sorry, an iPod Touch 6G, which as you're probably aware of, I've talked about it before, is the least expensive, what do you want to call it, small screen format iOS device. The fact that it's working, even though it indicated it shouldn't work, is great news because, one, I don't have really a test phone to use with it, and the iPod 6G is less than $200, so this would bring this whole thing in about $350 price range, which is much more affordable than some of the other 360 units out there. Well, actually, it's about $200 now, so close to $400, but still, that's a lot cheaper than some of the other units out there. So, take some time, look at it. I will go through some of the settings, not some settings, but specifications. It's I believe it's close to a 4K spherical, which doesn't say a lot. It's about in the same realm as the Samsung Gear 360. I found that the quality of the image is pretty decent, but the thing that strikes us or makes this a better buy, and from my perspective, other than the fact that you need an external iOS device, is that I'm streaming currently live in 360. So it makes it the cheapest 360 device, and the fact is you can use it with an iPod Touch makes it very compact. Now I've noticed that it's not really made to fit the smaller device, and I'm actually having to hold it fairly tight now in order to keep the connection with the Lightning port. But I think maybe a little bit of, if you're planning to use this on a consistent basis, you might want to glue it or use some type of phone taping or maybe use some Velcro to keep it in place, which is probably the direction I will go. But other than that, it seems to be working really nice. I don't know how long the battery will last on it. The fact is that you can, I believe, I don't know about supporting the phone, but you can charge the unit with a standard micro USB Type 5 volt device. It does have its own battery source. It also has a micro SD card. Now I did try to use this previously and found out that either I probably have to reformat it in a different manner, but it did not recognize it even though it was supposedly in the ballpark of memory capability. I think it was like a 16 gig, maybe a 32 gig card, which from what I read should be compatible. So I may find a particular brand that I know that will work with it. And what that will allow you to do is actually record to the device itself instead of, in the case without a card, directly to the device. And considering that the cheapest iPod Touch 6G is, I think, 16 gig for $200 or close to $200, that might make a difference as far as the ability to record long passages of full 360 on this. But as you can see, the quality is good. The fact is I don't really need to rotate the camera around, and so you should be able to see this whole thing live if you are on YouTube and be able to scroll around. So yeah, it's coming along here in the tech closet, as I call it, and tomorrow morning you'll notice that I'll have my standard blue screen or a green screen background with my All Things 3D logo and then whatever else I come up with. Tomorrow will be an interesting little surprise if you want to tune in. My title of this particular episode is going to be called, let's see what I wanted to call it, Soaked Cardboard or something like that. As you know, I live in Portland now, and I have to say it's probably rained more days than it has not. And our trash day is on Wednesday, and we still have a lot of cardboard from unboxing, which they will take, but I didn't want it to be all wet and soggy. So actually I think the title again was Soggy Cardboard. I have some reasons for that. I'm going to bring out some information about the Google Cardboard, more in particular the Google Daydream, why I personally think it's probably not as successful as they want it to be. which alludes to some of the tests I've been doing with my new Nuyoti. God, I can't even talk tonight. My new Nuyoti VR would probably help to be able to hear out of both ears. My new Nuyoti VR Uplay, specifically with Daydream compatibility, with an NFC tag so that it's immediately recognized if you have a Daydream compatible phone like the Pixel. And I think there's a couple of new phones out there, including, I don't remember the title now, but I'll bring it up tomorrow. You can get yourself a $300 pretty decent phone. It was one of the popular ones over the year, but it is now Daydream compatible. I may order one. It's about $300. You might be able to get it cheaper on eBay or a used one. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. Plus, obviously, if Chris is with us tomorrow, we'll talk about some 3D printing. There's a couple of them out there that I thought were in particular were interesting. So we'll talk about that. And, you know, my thoughts on more about the HTC Vive. I've been working with that, as you know. I've talked about how I plan to use it for architectural purposes last Friday. One of the reasons I wasn't on the show is because I was using it one point right now. The unit is actually getting a little bit warm. Battery does seem to be depleting pretty quickly on the iPod, but we'll see if it shuts down. So if in the middle of this I seem to have shut down, you'll know why. So just keep that in mind if I immediately terminate if you're watching this live. But back to the point. I've been working with the HTC Vive and doing some things in the Unreal. If you remember, if you had a chance to look at my little 360 holiday card where my wife and I, Siobhan, are with our little mini direwolf inside a sled, or actually at the passenger side of a sled. It was a full 360, but I had recorded it, so I've now converted it into an HTC Vive. I'll make that available online probably over the weekend. But I'll talk about my experiences using the new Unreal version, let's see where we're at, 4.15 now, as well as some other interesting insights. I really like the HTC Vive. It is probably the most interactive experience I've had, including some of my own designs. Extremely immersive, but more importantly, the fact that you can track in a larger space, and the controllers, in my opinion, are really nice. And fluid and tracking is just dead on. Again, you do need a fairly decent machine, but I was able to make a decent i7. Let's see, what did I put in there? NVIDIA GTX 1070, if I remember correctly, for about $1,000, and along with I got it on sale for about $600, so about $1,600 gets you into an HTC Vive system. I was then able to get on eBay for $450 another HTC Vive, so I'm going to be looking at developing some apps that use dual functionality. I do know that Destination, which is in the Steam store right now, using the can't even remember the name of the engine now, but using the Valve engine that was used for Half-Life and a few other games out there. Sorry that it's not in my head right now, but their version 2 is actually pretty good. Lighting is really nice. The physics, which was one of the big selling features of this engine back when Half-Life 2 was out, are stupendous. The fact that you're able to pick up items and throw them, even in the destinations. I wouldn't want to call it a demo. It's kind of like a passive viewing experience. You can bring in your own models and create your own visualization. They also have some tips on using photogrammetry, which I'll talk about tomorrow as well. Okay, I'm almost out of battery here. I'm going to sign off, and with that, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Bye.